Hi fellow readers, today I'm going to be talking about Dark and Shallow Lies by Ginny Myers Sane. I hope I'm saying that name correct. Dark and Shallow Lies is a YA book, and it's a bit of a YA horror slash mystery. And it tells the story of Gray, our main character, who moved out of her hometown, which is like this small town in, I believe, Louisiana. Lachey, I think is the word, or did they say Shazette? I don't remember. I listened to the audio, but I cannot remember how they said the town name, but it's a small town in Louisiana. And Gray left that small town to go and pursue school further. And while she's away at school, her best friend, and I can't remember, it's sort of like a soul bond twin person who's not her twin, not a sibling through birth, but it has to do with like how they're born, disappears from this small town. And Gray wants to immediately go back to the small town and investigate what happened to her friend and try to find her, but I believe her family asked her to stay, I don't remember, but either way she has to finish the school year first. So at the end of her school term, she goes back to the small town to investigate the disappearance of her friend. And of course, when she gets back there, she also is reunited with her former group of friends that she had there. And at that time, she feels like a semi-outsider. It's been so long since she was around this group of friends, and she did leave them. And it's upon coming back that we start to learn more about the friend group, and that they're not just a group of normal teens, that they actually, due to when and how they were born, or maybe the town in general, like each of them has different abilities. And Gray always felt like an outsider because she did not actually get her abilities. Nothing seemed to be manifesting in her, whereas everybody else had these other abilities to perceive things or get dreams, or one of the kids can actually like project himself, like he'll be somewhere else in town but send his manifestation to wherever they are and talk to them and communicate. His character was pretty cool. And so she starts trying to piece together what happened that led to their friend's disappearance. So as she's researching, there's also like bits and pieces of the past that Gray reveals to us, such as there was this group of kids all born throughout this summer, and I think it was during one of the big hurricanes, so they all were perceived as special because they were like the hurricane babies or something. But we find out that 2 of the children were murdered years ago, and that this has sort of darkened the town ever since. And there's some mistrust, there's some issues going on in the town, and also kind of what happened to the person that was accused of murdering these children all those years ago. And all this is all pieced together with the current narrative of what happened to Alora, Gray's friend. And also, upon getting there and interacting with her friends, we're introduced to a new character who I guess is surrounded by kind of mistrust or distrust in the town, but who is right around all the kids' ages. And really, Gray is attracted to this kid, even though she feels like she is supposed to want to stay away from him and that he could be a threat or dangerous. She is drawn to him, and so we will see her like interacting with him. And again, pieces from the past and pieces from the current storyline coming together. Like, it turns out that he knew and was talking to Alora, and we find out too that he is the son of the man accused of murdering those young girls, and he's never believed it, but because of that, he is perceived as a danger and a threat to the whole town. But it also seems like everybody is hiding something, including Gray's grandmother. It seems like she's not telling the truth about what's going on. And again, the whole time, like, Gray is struggling with this lack of ability, that she seems to be the odd person out who's lacking this power to really do anything. Like everybody else, is either able to communicate with the dead or see things or have these precognizant dreams, whatever it is, they all can do, and yet she feels left out. We do sort of see little hints of maybe there's more to it than that, but that is a big feeling throughout the story, is that Gray feels left out, and she doesn't feel like she fits in with her friend group, and she doesn't understand why everybody else has this ability and she seems to be lacking it. So as we follow Gray on her questioning of her friends and the town and researching the past, we are kind of given a lot of clues and a lot of red herrings about who did it and who's the villain in this piece. I'll lay it flat out. I figured out who done it relatively early on. Like once they really established the characters, there are little hints and clues that immediately triggered my, oh, well, it's this person. I don't quite know what happened, but who done it, I know. And so then it was just following along the story. Well, one, to see if I was correct, and two, to find out like how that the events actually transpired. Yeah, what did happen to Alora. I think for me, I enjoyed the backstory more, that past history of what happened in the town and what happened to the two young kids and their tragic end, like what happened there. I liked that story a little bit more than Alora. I mean, you knew pretty early on that something went down with her, and she had been missing by the time Gray gets back, I think for like 6 months. So it had been a while, and that's really why Gray felt almost betrayed that they hadn't solved that yet, because it had been so long that she's like, why hasn't anybody discovered anything? And it is kind of interesting that like Gray gets back and suddenly she's able to investigate and solve things. But I think part of that goes into the fact that they were from this small, tight-knit town that really hides a lot of its dark secrets very well. They don't want people to know what's going on in the town or the town's business. It's the town's business, and sort of they take the law into their own hands and handle things. And I think Gray having that feeling of being an outsider allowed her to come in and piece out and puzzle out the truth of what happened. And I quite liked it a lot. And I think for a YA, this definitely had a lot of adult appeal, especially for people who like thrillers and mystery. But I also loved that it spun like this horror thriller paranormal element to it, with them having abilities to like see the dead and do all these things. I liked that, and it had really good vibes to it. It's a very, very quick read. And it was one I didn't want to stop. I listened to it, like I said, but I didn't want to stop listening. Like I wanted to keep on with the story and puzzle it out and see if I was right once I thought I had figured it out. Like I wanted to get to the end. So I think that all bodes well for the story. Like I think it was just a successful piece. Like I just enjoyed it a lot. So is this a perfect book? No, I don't really know what that is perfect. There's some I like a lot and give 5 stars, but I did enjoy it quite a bit. And again, I think because this is YA, it has that appeal for younger audiences or older audiences who need a break from, traditional full adult narrative. Like maybe you want something that's quicker, that's fun, that isn't afraid to tie in the paranormal. For me, it kind of hit a spot that I was looking to fill, and I'm glad that I gave it a read. I would recommend it to people who like mysteries and like thrillers with a touch of paranormal. I think it successfully told the story. Again, not perfect, but an enjoyable, well-told narrative that I would rate at least between 3 to 4 stars. I'm leaning closer to the 4. I thought it was really good, and I would definitely recommend it. That's all for this video. Until next time, bye.